International and global business strategies have been around for hundreds of years. Many companies have expanded beyond their home markets over the centuries for reasons of trade, empire and wealth. But why is it important now? Why do firms want to expand into, for example, North America, Europe and Japan, as well as newly developing countries like India and the People's Republic of China? And what about Latin and South American countries and Africa, along with Australasia? And when firms expand internationally, can they simply repeat what they do in their home markets? Maybe they need to learn a foreign language, but need they do any more? Is global business strategy just the same as a home strategy, but on a larger scale? The purpose of this video is to outline briefly some of the answers to these questions. Let's begin by looking at some facts. In the 1970s, world trade was growing much faster than manufacturing. The same was true in the 1980s and even into more recent years. Why was this happening? What was going on? There are at least 4 reasons, and these 4 reasons begin to explain the complexity of international and global business strategy. The first reason is that barriers to trade were coming down. For example, successful negotiations between countries on the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, and the completion of a single Europe and the North American Free Trade Association. Second, the world got better at undertaking the organisation that was needed to achieve increases in world trade. Such things as the World Trade Organization and the World Bank were both established and then improved. Third, major international companies like the Swiss-based company Nestlé in food products and the Japanese car company Toyota have increased the breadth and depth of their international activities. And finally, technology has changed dramatically and made the world a much smaller place. Well, what does this mean for business strategy? Does every company need to have an international strategy? Is global strategy the same as international strategy? Some of these questions deserve more than a short video, and you can explore them in more depth through the website's material. But at least let's tackle 2 topics. The first of them is the distinction between foreign trade and foreign direct investment. The foreign trade of a company consists primarily of its exports and imports. The foreign direct investment of a company is the long-term investment in technology, management skills, and the physical assets in a local foreign subsidiary. This distinction is important because direct investment is much more risky than exporting from your home country. Now let's turn to another issue, the 3 main types of international and global business strategy. The first of these is international, when a significant proportion of a company's activities take place outside its home country. The second is multinational, when a company operates in many countries, though it may still have a clear home base. And the third is global, when a company treats the whole world as one market and one source of supply. These 3 strategic approaches have major implications for international and global business strategy. For the first, international strategy, the main focus of the company's competitive advantage is on the company's home market. For the second, multinational strategy, competitive advantage will be determined for each of the main international markets of that company. And for the third, global strategy, competitive advantage comes from common global brands, largely standardized products, and global scale production with little local variation. As you can see, international and global business strategy begins with the same basic strategic principles as any company operating in a home market. For example, competitive advantage, innovation, strategic change. But global strategy is also more complex because you're dealing with individual countries. You're having to cope with international currency and tax and the substantial costs and risks of international investment. So finally, what does all this mean for companies like Toyota, like Dell, like Nike? They will build on their existing home competitive advantages, but they need to invest further around the world and negotiate with governments and government agencies in various countries. Equally, companies like Philips, Honda, Royal Dutch Shell and Samsung need to consider the purpose of their international business activity. What do they want to achieve because it's going to be more expensive? And all this means that international and global business strategy is more complex than national strategy, with higher risks and higher rewards than in the home market. And this makes global business strategy much more challenging.